Hello, this is Rich Kale here on YouTube, Rich Gen X elsewhere, and it's time to continue with King's Quest 6. Now, where we left off, we just got to the ferry, and we're going to go check and talk with the ferryman. Knock, knock, knock.
Yeah, what do you want?
Alexander promises himself.
Yeah.
Excuse me. My name is Alexander. The owner of the bookshop in the village told me you might be able to help me. I hear you used to run this ferry for the islands. I'd like to talk to you if you have a moment.
You say old Allie sent you? I can't see why. The ferry's not running, you know.
I understand. I'd just like to talk to you about the islands if you don't mind.
Well, I guess it'd be all right if Allie sent you. Well, don't just stand there. Come on inside.
Yep, now we're going to learn more about what's going on in
What is it
the
you
islands.
wanted to talk about, young man?
I'm a visitor to these islands. I'd like to learn what I can about the area.
So you said outside. What is it you want to know?
Well, for one thing, why has the island's only ferry been dry docked?
Huh. It just ain't safe to sail these days. What with the islands feuding and all. Wazir Al-Hazred ordered the ferry closed till things settled down. Me, I don't think she'll ever see water again.
But why are the islands feuding?
You got me. Something about stolen property or some such thing. 'Tis a real shame. Things used to be so friendly.
Then this unrest is recent.
A few years is all, but it's been long enough.
Perhaps if the ferry were repaired.
This old thing? This ferry's been out of water so long she's no longer even seaworthy. Her boards have dry rot. She'd fall apart at the first taste of seawater.
Oh,
But
boy.
there must be some way to get off this island.
There's only one other way to travel that I know of. A magic map. The owner of the pawn shop can tell you more about that than I can, Alexander.
Oh.
Tell me more about the ferry.
I remember when I used to ferry Queen Ilaria and Princess Casima themselves. There was no thought of danger back then. They used to go visiting to care for the needy and to keep up the friendly relations between the islands. I remember their last trip. Things had started getting nasty by then, and when they came back aboard, I gathered that the Queen and the Princess had been received a bit coldly. Princess Casima was such a pretty thing, and she was terribly upset. But who could be spreading these lies, she asked the Queen, but the Queen had no answer.
Oh.
What do
Interesting.
you do now that the ferry no longer operates?
Me? I'm out of a job. The job my ancestors have held for generations. I'm the only one trained to avoid the reef and the rocks. But that knowledge does me no good now.
Is there no other boat on the island? One that might be more seaworthy?
Boats don't last long on these shoals, as you may have found out if you got here by ship. You can be quite sure that this old ferry is, or was, the only craft on the island.
Ew.
Tell me more about Princess Casima.
Ah, such a beautiful child, and so pure of heart. Why, a contrary thought has never crossed her mind. Her mother was the same. The king and queen, they served the islands, not the other way around, always thinking about the people. Ah, they are sorely missed.
What else can you tell me about the land?
Let's see. The Isle of Wonder's a lovely spot. A bit crazy, mind you. Gotta have a good sense of humor to enjoy a tour there.
What else can you tell me about the land?
The Isle of the Beast is pretty, but unfortunately, you can't get very far onto the island.
What else can you tell me about the land?
The inhabitants of the Isle of the Sacred Mountain are the most gorgeous creatures you'll ever see. If you ever get to see them, that is.
What else can you tell me about the land?
The Castle of the Crown sure is a beauty. She's the finest palace ever built, I'll warrant.
Okay.
What else can you tell me about the land?
Some say that the land of the Green Isles is near the edge of the world, and that the deadly currents are a result of a magnetism that sucks life from this world to the next. Of course, that's just silly talk.
Yes, of course.
What else can you tell me about the land?
Let's see. The Isle of Wonders.
Okay, so he's repeating himself. So now we can take our leave. But first, let's get this rabbit foot. think there's a rabbit foot.
There's a rabbit foot at the table. It seems the fairy is counting on a little luck.
I see you have a rabbit's foot. Has it brought much luck?
As you can see, my luck's been out for some time now, despite that old charm. Why don't you take it with you? Perhaps giving your dark thing away bring good fortune at last.
Perhaps it will at that. Thank you.
Alrighty. So now let us leave.
Well, I think I'll be going now. Thanks for allowing me into your home.
Hush, not at all. It breaks the boredom, if you know what I mean.
Yes, I'm sure it does. Alright. Alright, so now we know all that. Somebody started things worrying. I never trust a Grand Vizier. They're usually bad. Let's go back into Ali's books.
Good day again. How may I help you?
Oh, well, who's this guy here? Looks like a court clown.
Good day, sir. Is there anything you can tell me about the land of the Green Isles?
I'm sorry, but I have no time for idle conversation. I'm too worried about the princess.
I'll show him the ring.
Determined to learn more about the strange man's relationship with the princess, Alexander shows the man his insignia ring and formally introduces himself.
Yes, let's do that.
I'm sorry to insist, but my name is Alexander of Daventry, and
I appreciate the offer of the ring, Alexander, but I'm afraid I'm already spoken. Daventry? Where have I heard of Daventry? Flying flit mice. You must be Prince Alexander. Cassima told me about you when she arrived home. How came you here?
why, by a ship now wrecked upon the sand. But you know Cassima? She truly spoke of me?
Yes, I saw her briefly when she first returned home. She mentioned a prince to me, Prince Alexander of Daventry. I'm afraid that was before she was told about her parents' deaths.
Oh my.
You see, she arrived home a few weeks too late. The king and queen thought they'd never see her again. It is said they died of heartbreak. I'm afraid she's blamed herself.
What a terrible homecoming.
Indeed.
If we had only known.
Terrible indeed, poor thing. Everyone in the kingdom seems to despair with her these days. The streets are silent.
Where is she now?
The princess is sequestered in mourning. It's a rather dated tradition, and not required, but the Wazir says she insisted out of respect.
I see. You've yet to say who you are, and how you know the princess.
Yes.
I? Oh, pardon me. My name is Jalo. I am clown to the royal court, and had been since the marriage of Cassima's parents, King Calipham and Queen Alaria. Oh, those were the happy days. The pair of them were so full of joy and life, so in love. And
Indeed.
Cassima's birth. It would be hard to explain how long they had waited, how they had hoped for a child. I mean, she was such a charming little thing, smart as a whip, kind and sweet. Oh, she means everything to this kingdom, Alexander, and to me. I'm so terribly worried about her.
Yeah.
About her grief over her parents, you mean?
Well, the truth is, I do not trust the Wazir or his plans for Cassima. I'm still living at the Castle of the Crown as court clown, his clown. But it is more to keep my ear to the ground than out of loyalty. I wish I knew what the princess thinks these days. If only I could find Sing Sing, Cassima's pet nightingale. I might be able to send the princess a message. As it is, I must wait for the end of her seclusion. Now I'm afraid I must hurry back to the castle. I'll try to return to the bookshop again later.
Thank you for speaking with me, Jalo. I hope we meet again soon.
That's an interesting little bit of detail. Alright, and there Jalo heads back to the castle. Well, let's go check the pawn shop.
Old lamps for new. Old lamps for new.
Oh, we'll have to figure out which one we need. Uh-oh.
Good day.
Uh-oh. I think that's a genie. And there's all sorts of neat stuff in here. We'll check that out in a moment.
Excuse me, merchant, but the ferryman mentioned that you might have a magic map of the land of the Green Isles.
Why, as a matter of fact, I do. I keep it under the counter. It's been gathering dust so long that I nearly forgot about it. It was quite a few years ago, you see. The estate of a wealthy wizard fell into my hands when he died. It was useless magical junk mostly, which reminds me, I've still got some things of his in the back that I need to dump out. Anyway, the magic map was the one true treasure in the lot. The wizard was quite old and feeble and had enchanted the map to aid in traveling. It is said that one need only desire to be on an island depicted on the map to find oneself there. It is a very valuable map, as you can imagine. Unfortunately, no one is interested in traveling these days. It is far too dangerous with the current state of the kingdom.
What would you take for the map?
I would normally want something magic in return, but since I am hardly overrun with prospective buyers, I would be willing to take anything of equal value in exchange.
Well, you know what? I do have something that should be of equal value. I'll just have to figure out how to get back.
If Alexander wants to exchange one of his possessions for an item in the pawn shop, he'll have to arrange it with the pawn shop owner first by showing him the object for trade.
Would you be willing to take my family ring in exchange for the magic map?
Daventry, are you a king then?
No, that's my father, King Graham. I'm just Alexander.
Well, Prince Alex, she is a beautiful ring. Are you sure you can part with such a unique family heirloom?
The ring does mean a lot to me. I didn't always have a family, you know. Still, it is only gold. There are more important things at stake now.
Then you now own a magic map, Prince Alex. I will keep your ring out of sight for a few days.
Okay.
If you find anything else of great value in your travels, you can come back for your ring. I would hate to see it melted down for gold. Ah, and a warning about the map. It will only operate when you are out in the open and within sight of the sea. The limitation has something to do with the teleport spell ingredients. You might try the beach.
Ah.
You are very kind, and I'll remember about the map.
Oh.
Suddenly, the old man in the concealing cloak sneaks past Alexander, and with a sneaky dart of his hand, steals a mint from the candy jar. The old man stuffs the mint into his mouth and wobbles unsteadily out of the pawn shop.
Huh. Uh-oh, seconds later in the castle. That's not
Master!
good.
I followed Prince Alexander as you wished from the pawn shop owner. He just abstained, just reprieved. He just got a magic map.
Oh, yeah.
You fool! You've been eating those mints again. I ordered you to stop that.
Yes, Master.
Now, what is this about a magic map?
With the map, Prince Alexander could travel anywhere as quickly as I can.
I thought I took care of the only means of travel. By my scimitar, I can't have him stirring things up now. Get a hold of yourself and listen carefully, Shamir. Go to the other islands and tell them...
No, that's not the right lamp, I think. Okay. Okay. Alright. Let's take a map.
Alexander takes a mint.
Alright. And now let's offer our coin from Daventry.
I have this copper coin. Is it of any value to you at all?
Most interesting. I have never seen a Daventry coin before, but it is copper genuine enough. I might even find a buyer who is interested in foreign currency.
Okay.
The items on the front counter are the only things in the store that I can let go for the price of 1 copper. You may make your choice from there.
Alexander looks at the items on the counter to make his selection.
Alright. I think, since we heard about a nightingale...
That mechanical nightingale looks intriguing. I believe I'll take it.
Very well. Your coin is well spent. Remember, this is a pawn shop. I am always willing to take back my own goods in trade.
I'll remember. Thank you.
Alright, so we're going to need that. Now let's take a look at some of the items we have here.
Towering mightily over the other pawn shop curiosities, the stuffed bear makes an ostentatious display.
Yes.
The back wall of the shop holds various odds and ends. For example, a hole detector for finding those hard-to-spot holes in small sailboats. Cat cookie mix. Play tricks on your friends, the box says.
Reference to 3. I think the hole was for 5.
A golden bridle finder for finding those nearly invisible golden bridles.
4.
Self-adhesive emeralds, what you use when you don't have honey.
5 again.
Tongue climbing gear, tested on over 100 whale tongues.
4. That's from 4.
A uvula tickler, guaranteed to make large mammals sneeze.
Again, 4.
A cheese hook for retrieving cheese out of small holes.
5.
A shovel that's guaranteed not to break for over 100 grave diggings.
4.
A bridge repair kit for when you've crossed a bridge one too many times.
That's from 2.
Stair traction pads. Stop slipping off those narrow staircases.
Every King's Quest game.
A hoe hold. A tall skeleton lends an air. The land of the Green Isles must have at least one inhabitant with interest in the mystical, for a crystal ball has been traded in, along with the more common household goods.
Yeah.
A small red drum beats no more on the shelves of the pawn shop. A strange-looking winged device occupies one corner of the room. It is frail with disuse. Alexander finds it intriguing. Perhaps he thinks it was once used in a local sporting event, in which enthusiasts jumped from cliffs, glided on air currents, and then attempted to land, frequently crunching a bone or two in the process.
All right. Let us head out now. So now it's time to head over here, and there's
A nightingale perches on a high branch of the tree. She sings the most beautiful song Alexander has ever heard.
Yes. That is, I think, Sing Sing.
Alexander winds the mechanical nightingale and places it on the ground. The mechanical nightingale sings a sweet, tinny tune. The real nightingale in the tree cocks her head and listens intently. The nightingale flies to a lower branch and looks at Alexander curiously, as if she were deciding that this human might not be so bad.
We've befriended the nightingale. All right. Yep. So she will now always be on that lower branch, so we can then have her relay messages to Cosima. Oh. Our pawn shop man has taken dumb stuff out.
Alexander sorts through the odds and ends that the pawn shop owner dumped into the pot. Magic exploding gum wrappers, a shattered crystal ball, a cracked wand, a fake thumb. Near the bottom, Alexander finds a little glass bottle labeled ink. It appears to be empty, but Alexander decides to take it anyway. You never know when a small bottle will come in handy.
All right. And it will come in handy very soon. Here we go south. All right.
Alexander reads the love poem. What nameless thing is the name of love cannot apply?
Okay, wrong thing.
Alexander pulls out his magic map.
Yes. This magic map is going to be helpful. Now.
A large island named the Isle of the Sacred Mountain dominates the north of the Land of the Green Isles. There's a small island labeled Isle of the Beast on the east side of Alexander's map. According to the magic map, the Isle of Wonder is a comma-shaped island poised in the sea to the west.
Okay.
The Isle of the Crown lies at the south of the map. The magic map lays out what Alexander assumes is the whole of the Land of the Green Isles. The distinctive islands are separated from each other by the deadly sea.
Well then, we're going to the Isle of the Sacred Mountain first.
Alexander feels a strange pulling sensation. Alexander notices an unusually large coal-black feather lying on the beach.
All right, we better take that.
Alexander takes the feather. There's an ugly flower growing near the base of the cliff.
Better take that too.
Alexander picks the flower and is startled by its hideously strong skunk-like odor. For a moment, he can smell nothing else.
All right. So, we have the rabbit's paw, the rabbit foot, the stinky flower, the mint, the nightingale, and the ink. This is going to be needed, because once we go to the Isle of Wonder, you're going to have to figure out alrighty, so we got a few things to do. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to save it real quick. As chance. This This is one of our riddles that we're going to have to get past to solve to get past this island. Or get to the top.
Alexander pulls out his magic map.
Alright, let's go to the Isle of Wonder.
Alexander feels a strange pulling sensation. The blue ocean stretches on for as far as Alexander can see.
There's something in there. Yeah.
A string of letters floats in the water. The letters spell out, "Where are you going?" Alexander's heard of alphabet soup, but this is ridiculous.
I better wait till it gets a little bit closer. See, there we go.
Alexander doesn't want to take... Alexander picks up the object floating in the water. It appears to be a string of letters. They say, "Where are you going?" Alexander decides to keep the odd sentence, even though it is incomplete. One of the oysters is sitting up in bed and doesn't look very happy. He seems to be the only one who can't sleep. In the oyster's mouth, Alexander can see a glint of white.
Why aren't you asleep like the other oysters?
Oh, I'm so weary, but I can't sleep. I have a terrible ache in my mouth.
Well, this is an oyster. Oyster bed.
If you're having trouble sleeping, perhaps you'd like me to read to you.
Hey, that would be great.
Now we got a nice, long, boring book.
2 dulcimers raised to the degree of 40 half-dulcimers, divided into equal parts by the third of a cackle of grouse geese, put over the result of 10 fine mackles, albeit small fine mackles, stretched over the total of 53 1/8 bottles of wild beast lard.
Alexander makes a grab for the pearl.
Hey, you fixed my mouth. It feels great.
Ah, the little oyster drifts into peaceful slumber with the rest of his oyster friends.
Okay. Alrighty, we got the oyster to go to sleep. I'm going to do a quick save here. Because now we got to get past the guards. And then once we get past the guards... So once we do that, we'll call it an episode. Let's try to leave the beach.
Alexander hears someone coming.
Uh-oh.
"5 fierce guards of the isle we be. Watch for a foreign man," said he, "with ears and nose, tongue, hands, and eyes. Its nature cannot be disguised. If mad it be, then mad it dies. Old Tom Troll, smell your smell. Do that which you do so well."
Alexander holds the flower of stench out to the gnome with the jumbo nose.
Yep.
Tom Troll I am, that's all I'll be. My nose knows all on land and sea. A flower of stench has washed ashore. A flower 'tis all, and nothing more. Listen, hark you, Groganor, do your duty as you swore. With your ears, please tell us more.
Alexander winds the tin nightingale and plays it for the gnome with the monumental ears.
Yep. Eep. Eep.
'A nose is not a way to spy. My ears cannot be told a lie. A nightingale is all there be. No man is near, and so say ye. Taste the rump that we might know whether friend or whether foe.
He got big tongue.
Alexander holds the mint out for the gnome with the gigantic mouth.
Taste sweet. It matters not what the bleed. No danger is this one so sweet.
Sounds a bit like Droopy to me.
Use your hands. It is me, ours is in hand.
Alexander holds the rabbit foot out for the gnome with the huge hands.
Yep.
A rabbit here is all we greet.
Uh-oh. Now the trickiest one.
Resolve this matter. Look you now and end this chatter.
Alexander pours the contents of the empty-looking ink bottle over himself.
Yep.
By all beauteous, fair and sightly, 4 morons do I sleep with nightly. There's nothing there at all, I say. Enough of this. Let's now away.
Five gnomes, 5 senses. All 5.
Alexander did it! He's fooled the guards!
Alrighty. Well, now we have more freedom of how we can move about. And we are going to save that for the next time round. Now that we've beat the gnomes, we can travel about this island a lot more freely. There are somewhat of guards on the other islands. However, we'll find a way to deal with each of those types of guards when we encounter them. And the genie is about. Although, eventually, we might be able to get the genie to our side. However, until then, this is Rich Kale here on YouTube, Rich Gen X elsewhere, inviting you to subscribe to the channel and check out some of the other playthroughs I have up on the channel. Besides the King's Quest franchise, I am working my way through the Doom franchise, following Doomguy/Doomslayer, currently on Doom 2016. I'm working my way through Beyond Good and Evil, working my way through the Tomb Raider Core Designs timeline. I'm about to start Tomb Raider Angel of Darkness, which unfortunately was a final part to the original Core Designs timeline. I'm working my way through the Sherlock Holmes franchise. In fact, I'm working on the reboot of the franchise with Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1. And also, which will premiere later in the week, I'm working my way through Mystery of the Mummy, which is from the original timeline that Frogwares put out. But between that And of course, between that and the chapter 1, I am working on Stasis, and that premieres between those two. And there's a bunch of other things that premiere at 3 p.m. Eastern every day. Also at 10 a.m., usually Tuesday through Saturday. Sometimes on Monday I have videos premiering. Tuesday is usually a fic reading. Wednesday is a Final Fantasy game. If I'm not still working on 7, it's a different one of the first 7 games. I am on Thursday. It's usually Dead by Daylight runs, or sometimes I'm playing a different game. Monstrum 2. Friday is a fighting game ladder mode, and Saturday is a retrospective for a game or series I've beaten. If nothing pops up on Saturday morning, it means I'm caught up. But until next time, again, this is Rich Kill here on YouTube, Rich Gen X elsewhere, and as you can see with King's Quest 6, I've got a score of 51 out of 231. But until next time, take care all, and have fun. Bye all!